This is between feast and haste, and now the undue combat will all end. The race that had begun, well, quite eventful, has gradually turned into a fiction with me as the victim. Then I had smiles of victory spread all over my cheeks, with so much love from peers wrapping arms around and sharing same happiness as we grew older. Now, all this vanished just as quickly as they appear, leaving me by myself on my own lane. As I continue, there have been good times and bad, happy and sad, but none has been like this. The race has been wavy, the lane has been fading. I kept on with the stamina earned by my imaginations of crossing the line. So why now? This is so unlike him. The sudden drift has knocked me over and has left me shaking in my boots, leaving me clueless. But then I'm enchanted, confused, and still abused again and again. This is the quest for the love I desire, to bring back the fairy tale we both created. All I ask is you pour into me the love you promised, the intoxicating feeling you assured me of, the days we ran by each other and clapped at every wave of passion swooping our feet. Now every step leads me away from my heart and away into his fierce love. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months, and now months look like it's been forever. Am I ever going to survive this? I'm caught between the deception and manipulation of love itself. I have subconsciously developed the art of holding and loving on his arms. But see how those firm arms have turned out to be my greatest enemy. Just some days now, I was left with several punches that took me into another realm. I've been fooled. I've been fooled by the sugar coatings and his enticing words. I go again with this time in hopeless pride. My simple efforts to correct what has now become a norm has been thwarted again. He hits me like he would comfortably hit his pillow, believing it will bounce back, or should I say bounce better. Every slap on my face are reminders, quick reminders that I have been doomed. I have been stripped of all my glory, my pride. This is trauma. I've lived in the cycle for months. I'm losing it. I'm losing the grips I have for survival. I can barely imagine my life with this odd format. How do I explain I have fallen in love with a beast-like human? My heart has been melted with his show of love, and now it seems like it's been melted forever. Will I ever come out of this? I have forgotten the art of love from my lover, the foretold gold I should become. I remember in a wink of passion, he gladly sold all he had to get all of me. Then I begin to recall in the steady force of his love, through his gentle, thin and quiet voice. Now the pose and fall of my cruel destiny stings me faster and faster, taking away the strong memories of my true worth. How do I begin to explain the solace and peace? How my ankles rest within the fair shoes of deep comfort. Life has been more than just a good dream. It was melodious, full of songs and laughter. I have literally walked through gold, just like a royalty would. Around my breast were beads of promises, assurance of a gracious life. Growing up, I have been loved and cuddled over with the efforts from loving angels sent just for me. My fantasies about life grew bigger and bigger with the future I imagined. However, this is me now, lying in wait for a cup and a life giver, sentenced to a punishment I have no guilt for. I have traveled a world of hope down to a path I know nothing about. Series of times I have asked questions. If only I could tamper with the puzzles that now leads me to a wide trench. Take me to the life I really need, the true life from the beginning. from afar, letting the crawling Arctic fill into her warming air. She pulled out the hot and burning tea of her mouth, pushed into a laughter that seemed to tear the roof open. Then her eyes narrowed into what seemed a tiny apple on a roll. Somehow she liked the bizarre. Her pretty eyes doesn't seem to wear over the rumpled dress she managed to fit into. She's engrossed. Her beating heart keeps painting the scenes of months ago, the charms of his love, his convincing words that keep tugging around her simple mind. You know, it's something that messes with your psyche. How he pampered her every step and wrapped his hands around her pretty carved face, to the end that she could trust his every move. Their sounds were like the voice of the crowd, the noise of sounding brass. She is lost into his every move. It keeps going on and on, yeah, like a symphony. It is an experience you do not wish to live. The act of his love suddenly swayed to a drastic end when he first displayed the power of his face. The resurrected man that hid inside. She begins to wonder how it correlates. The softness of his hands over her chocolate-covered skin against the raging anger from his face, pouncing and bruising the acts of her beauty. She had tried all she could to get rid of this fear. Her heart with love has been turned to serve a portion for abuse. Every love he showed has proved the same wave of hate. Every strike of his palm changed a part of her. Not to say a word, she has been roughly pulled out of line. Her formerly earned pride, appealing to every onlooker, has been dampened and erased. How to say she feels more comfortable being abased than she did abounding. Her once healthy experience of nurture and esteem is sprayed away. Then I meet what seems like witty suggestions, all just to ease the cruel tension pulling me like gritty strings. Perhaps I would close my eyes again to open them in a new breathing world. I'm sinking deeper, blinded by the figure of another image in the Mediterranean. Beating, yet I feel again. It's somewhat dicey. How did I get into this misery of blind satisfaction? Perhaps I should turn to these tiny elements that will ease stress and boost my confidence, so I find moments of true peace. I have traveled against the hands of 3 or 4 who would console and commend. I have left the strength of the cord, and now I'm still lost. Drugs. Overrated. Upside down, from the work of a union, a slight thought, a just move. Jack, as a little boy, had watched at the scary threats of his abusive dad. Jack knew he could do something at every attempt if he continues to hit her, though it was overbearable for him at that age. Still, he continued in the series of how he would avenge for her every bruise. But you know, he was as helpless as much as she was. He had subconsciously learned to prove his strength with his fist. At every instant, he knew it. He saw the burning knife. He knew how to fight at his victim's face. She was at the mercy of her partner. Her several attempts to help him out of this omen was a fast call for his fist. Jack's mom had a share of this pie too. Seeing that his mom's life was in threat, his heart kept burning and burning within. It was unclear who was more nervous, mother or son. Jack has become a victim of this same female story, breathing life into the same cycle that has thrived since time past. Unknown to him that he was already under a spell he dreamed to always fight against. There is more to guide him than sheer desire to pay back. He has caught the virus too. He is a victim. he needs help. Every step seemed like her feet were pierced by thorns. She's going to end it all. The fall, the tour of her destiny, the heights she climbed, all the battles she should win. Her every stride showed she is fierce. She's got what it takes to keep it moving. But how all this will come to an end. From a mere artwork, I became the pencil. From a mere sculpture, I was made a sculptor. From just creature to his creation, the thirsty soul dispensing rivers of living waters, translated from a mere image to his begotten son. I asked for a miracle, but he rather made me the miracle. He's always with me. That's why I walk on my red seas like red carpets. Thorns became wombs of pregnancies. My basket turned banquet. Yeah, I was lost, but now I'm still lost in your love. He gave me a plus for a minus, credits for debits, and throne for the cross, all just for me in you. How did I get out of this? I have realized that when we find ourselves at the crossroad between at least two different directions, we often panic. The victory that lies inside of us won't give up. It stays till the end. Even when you fall, it jumps out to your rescue. Each new season of life offers to train us for the next season if we pay attention and adapt. What can separate us from His love? Be it riches, be it fame, be it gold, be it silver, be it sorrows, be it pain. His love is everlasting. His mercy is forever. His work is finished. He's always there at every pain you feel. He promised He will never leave you, nor will He turn His back on you. You are His finished work.
Yo, what's up? Yo, my name is Benzo. I'm not a photographer, I leave this camera.